Welcome back. And this is our last segment. They go by fast. I must really enjoy doing this because I love talking with you guys every Sunday morning and giving you the information. It's going to help you ultimately make a great decision for you and your real estate. There's a lot of options available. We've always had some great guests. We've had real estate attorneys in the past. We've had bankruptcy attorneys. We've had short sale companies. We have mortgage professionals. And joining us today, there's no different. This is our last segment. We've got Randy Cooney, been a real estate professional since the mid-'80s, founder of the Success Institute for Real Estate Agents. We've got Dan Huss, also here from CFS Mortgage, past president, two-term president for Arizona Association of Mortgage Professionals. Dan, is that how we say it?
That is the name. We changed the name.
I know the name has changed there. And special guest, Geoff Nowlin, who came in to give a great testimonial for Randy's group. And again, Artisans. Yeah, I promise I'll say it wrong at least one more time, okay? And so we're going to talk about, Dan, let's talk about, you and I do a lot of work together. So really the thing that we want to emphasize to you listeners out there right now, if you've got a credit issue, it doesn't mean you can't step in and buy a home right now. Because we're going to analyze what's going on with your credit, and we're going to do our best to raise your score as quickly as we can so you can jump in. Now is the time to buy your dream house. Prices are down. However, Geoff, you shared with us in a previous segment, they're creeping back up again, right?
Yeah, they are.
Creeping back up.
It turns out, historically, August of last year was the bottom.
August was the bottom. So if you're waiting for the bottom, too late. It's time to jump in. Rates are down right too, Dan, around four-ish, right? Maybe a little under, maybe a little over, depending upon the week. They change daily.
They're so low, and I don't think you should worry about rate. I have people, I'll tell someone rate's 4.25, and they'll say, oh man, I want 3.75. Listen, the rates are low. Buy now.
Buy now, exactly. Because you can almost get the rate you want if you're willing to pay points and stuff, right?
Absolutely.
You can always buy it down, but
Absolutely.
Typically don't advise that unless you know you're going to be there for a long, long time. So, Dan, you and I work together. We've done quite a few transactions together. When somebody comes to you, what's the procedure? Somebody comes to you, gets pre-approved, right? It's referred by one of your real estate agents that likes to send your business. And you do a pre-approval, right? So they can go out and get the best possible offer accepted. Sellers want to know that if they're going to accept an offer from one of our listeners that you can actually qualify for the mortgage, right?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to make an offer if you don't have what's called a pre-qualification letter.
Pre-qualification letter. So you want to contact me, I can put you in touch with Dan. Again, our off-air line is 866-538-9898, 866-538-9898. Because you will be shocked at what you can do to improve your credit, how fast it can get done. So if you're out there saying, I'll never own my dream house, you know, the one with the picket fence, the two-car garage, the big screen, that's what I like. My wife wants that granite and that big Viking cooktop. So wherever you fall into that category, Geoff, you mentioned earlier, pools. Pools are going fast right now, so maybe your dream house has a pool. Make sure if you have kids, you put a gate with a padlock. But maybe that's your dream house, and you're thinking that you can't achieve that right now. But I can tell you, you can. I helped somebody last month raise their credit score 100 points in a month. It doesn't necessarily always go that fast, but we do offer a complete credit analysis, so we want to make sure. So Dan, somebody goes to you, they apply for a mortgage, you run a credit report, right?
Yep.
If the score is high enough and you have the proper income documentation, you're going to issue a pre-approval letter, turn that back over to them so they can start house hunting.
Correct.
If the score is not high enough, what are you going to do?
I'm going to say call Mick. But I think what's important there is people shouldn't be afraid to check their credit.
Right.
I'm not going to get, I'm not going to analyze where they're at. Life happens, but I don't want people to be afraid. Call me if their score's low. I'm going to talk with you. You're going to take a look at their credit, maybe set a time to meet with them and go over it.
Exactly right.
And credit score is more important now than I think it ever has been. But it doesn't, things are getting done, credit scores for the most part need to be, 620 or over, some stuff down as low as 580. But I would love to help people out, and I take no more greater pride than someone comes to me and I turn them over to you. You help them get their score up, and we take them down and buy a house. We recently had John,
right,
that we helped last year. John had come to me. I'd actually pre-qualified him. His score, I think, was about 660. Took about 4 months.
So he qualified?
He qualified. Issued a pre-approval letter. Unfortunately, it took him about 4 months to buy a house. He comes back. We had to repull his credit, and he had some charge-off collections, medical collections that weren't supposed to be on there that had showed up. I referred him over to you. You got together with him, got that score back up. I have never had a client be more happy, more thrilled, and I've never got greater joy than helping John be able to buy that house. and with the help that you gave him, and he's ecstatic.
Well, I can tell you, I do too. So again, if you're just joining us, that was Dan Huss with CFS Mortgage, sharing with you a story that may fit one of you. I mean, if your credit score is down, if you've had some medical issues, or for whatever reason you hit on hard times and your score is down, it can be fixed. It can be raised. You can buy your dream house. Now is the time. It's the perfect storm. Prices are down, but they're headed back up. Rates are down. They're not going to be low forever. Now is the perfect storm in Arizona to buy your home. And so again, John, we changed his name. His name's not John, but I love that guy. He came into my office to work on his credit. The guy's been in like 3 or 4 different motorcycle accidents. He's in a motorcycle club. I asked him which one. We're not going to tell you which one that is. And I can tell you that he said, listen, I expect you to do what you're telling me you're going to do. And it was like, okay, sir. Yes, I'll do that. And then after we raise his score and he's ready to qualify, he calls me and says, I need to talk to you. I'm like, uh-oh. He's like, I got to talk to you right now. And then I realized he was actually in the lobby of our building. He called me on his cell phone for his lobby. Come out here, he says. I came out there and he picked me up and gave me a big old bear hug. I love you, man, he says. And that is what it's all about.
And that's why we do what we do.
Exactly right. That's the success story. He had his dream home. You know what his dream home was? I remember the story exactly. His dream home was simply he wanted a garage big enough to work on his motorcycles.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted.
Yep.
He wanted a bedroom for his son and a garage big enough to tinker on his bike, and that was it. So again, if we just describe your situation, it's not too late. It doesn't matter what your credit score is. That's simply your point A. Check your credit. Check your credit. If you don't know where to get a report, just contact my office. Again, best thing is our off-air line. It's 866-538-9898. If you're driving in your car, please program that number into your phone. That way, if you ever have a question, you can contact us and we can put you in touch with any one of our real estate professionals or legal professionals that comes on our show. So we're going to shift gears here in a second. And Randy, I want to get you back here in the loop. We're going to talk about, you had a list. You said there's there's a real estate need. One of 3 Arizonians, one of you, one of 3 have a real estate need right now. Why don't you share that list with our listeners?
Well, there's never been such a great pent-up need for real estate and real estate services. See, there's 4 groups. There's many people, they're still upside down. They still need to look at their options. There are other people who lost their homes, but they did that 3 or 4 years ago. Now they want to get back in and buy. Then there's many potential sellers who've been waiting for the elevator to stop dropping, and by the way, it stopped dropping, so they could now move. And then there's many first-time home buyers and investors who are now realizing this might be, and probably is, the best time in history to buy in Arizona. Those 4 groups are huge numbers. I tell agents, any 3 people you talk to, one of them has a current real estate need.
Absolutely. And so that means either you have a current real estate need or you know somebody that has a current real estate need. Put them in contact with one of our professionals, again, through our email, my email, mick@yourcredittalkradio.com. Again, it's mick@yourcredittalkradio.com. Be happy to put you in touch with any one of our professionals. If you have any question at all, you can simply email it to me. I'll forward it on to one of our professionals and get that handled. So if you're a current homeowner and you're wondering if this new government program, HARP 2.0, works, then again, contact me so we can put you in touch with Dan Huss. Dan's been a mortgage professional for over 18 years, again, past president of Arizona Mortgage Association, so he knows his stuff, and we want to put you in contact with him if you have any questions at all regarding any of the programs. Also, Dan, I mean, you do purchases, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be a special super-duper government program. It can be as simple as an FHA or a jumbo loan, right? It doesn't matter. Someone can buy a house for $50,000 or $5 million. I'm guessing you have something for any one of those type of people.
We don't discriminate against mortgage size for sure, or loan size. And I think the misnomer out there is that banks aren't lending, and that you have to have 20% down to buy a house, and that's just not true.
My daughter just closed on one with 3.5% down.
3.5% down FHA. If you're a veteran, you can still do 0% down on a VA loan. And I think the best thing to do is just pick up the phone and call. It's a
exactly.
Great
Definitely pick up the phone and call, because I can tell you that nothing makes me happier than work with you, especially if you're a veteran. We like to work with everybody, don't get me wrong, but if you're a veteran, we also have a special price for veterans because, my dad's a veteran. He fought in the Korean War a long, long time ago, and there's always been a special place in my heart for veterans. My brother-in-law is in the Air Force, and he's a career guy, and he's doing great things. Actually stationed at the Pentagon right now for 2 years, so helping make our world a better place. We live in the greatest country in the world. I know we like to complain sometimes about, hey, this isn't going exactly right, or Washington doesn't do this, but you know what? I can tell you this past week, it made me realize that my daughter picked up the phone on Wednesday and invited me to a ball game, she's 27 years old, and, married, her husband was working, she had the day off, and I rearranged my calendar to go to the ball game. And there's a lot of countries that you don't have the freedom to be able to take time off work and do whatever you want to do. So even though there's some things that have happened in our economy, maybe it's happened to you, maybe it's happened to somebody that you love, but you know what the key right now is that you're to change your mindset and know that things are better, things are good, and we're headed in the right direction. You've heard our real estate professionals say, hey, listen, August was the bottom of our market. Now is the time to get pre-approved. Rates are down, historic lows. It's the best opportunity to buy. I mentioned my daughter just bought a house. Her payment went up $50 more than she's paying on rent. I mean, they had a one-bedroom apartment in Scottsdale. They moved to North Phoenix. They have 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage. They have granite countertops, hardwood floors, stainless steel, upgraded paint, 2-car garage, $175,000. I went, excuse me, shouldn't there be a 2 instead of a 1 in front of there? And their payments were like $1,000 a month. And so that could be your story. You could qualify for that. Again, contact us. If you have had credit issues, you're experiencing a short sale, foreclosure, again, there are some waiting periods that you have to wait before you can jump back into the market. But if you had a short sale and you've had it more than 60 days ago, you've got to check your credit. Because I can tell you, Dan just shared with you in a previous segment that he sees on a daily basis people just like you that have had a short sale and find out 2 years later that your lender is still reporting you as past due. Are they doing that on purpose? I don't think they are. Are they a little bit overwhelmed probably right now with short sales and foreclosures? They probably are. Let's at least give them the benefit of the doubt. But it doesn't give them the right to report incorrectly on your credit report. That's where you're protected. So you've got to dispute that information to get it corrected. You can do that on your own. You can contact us. Again, I own a company called Credit Strategies. We have people just like you raise their credit scores and get information off of it that shouldn't be there all the time. So again, now is the time to buy. Next week we're going to have some more great guests, but we're also going to talk about the 5 key ingredients of a credit score and the fastest way to raise your credit score is what we're going to talk about next week. So be sure and tune in for that. Again, this is your Credit Talk Radio. We're part of the Real Estate Radio Network. We're here every Sunday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. and we always have some great guests in studio with us to share their expertise, so you'll always know how to make the best decision for you and your family. And you might be what you think in the middle of the tunnel right now and don't see light at the end of the tunnel. But I can tell you the light is there. And if you don't know who it could be, let it be our radio show every Sunday morning at 10. Let us be the light at the end of your tunnel until you can find your own lights. But point A is where you are right now. It doesn't matter what your score is. It doesn't matter what you've been through. I've shared many times with you. I've gone through 3 foreclosures of my own. I can tell you my score is 700. All you have to do is follow a simple plan and get back in the game. And so if you're letting that stop you making a financial decision, make your decision. If you can afford your payment, keep making your payment. If you can't, that's another story, and let us help you with that. And so, again, we're winding down this hour here. Guys, it goes fast, doesn't it, Randy? I wanted to give a special thank you to Randy Cooney, owner, founder of the Success Institute, training many agents. Many of you would benefit from taking his classes. Randy, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Dan Huss, past president, 2 terms. Were you reelected? Did you have to run all over again, or was that just like nobody else wanted the job?
It was probably the latter.
Probably the latter. Well, it was still a lot of work. So I want to thank you for your service. Again, you've been a mortgage professional for 18 years, 2-time past president of the Arizona Mortgage Association. So thank you for joining us. And also our special surprise guest, and I promised you that I would say the name of your company wrong. I guess one more time, Geoff. So Geoff Nowlin, but why don't you say the name of your company?
Artisan Real Estate Group.
See, I was going to say Artesian again, so I'm glad you said that. Artisan Real Estate Group. Again, my name is Mick Bernard. I'm with Credit Strategies. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for inviting us into your living room or car or your headset today, because we're here for you. This is your show. It's your Credit Talk Radio. We're part of the Real Estate Radio Network. I want to personally thank you for joining us. We'll be right back next week with some great guests. Have a great Sunday. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye. It's a wrap.
All right. Well, that was painless. We all lived.
Well done, Mick. Very well done.